Hello, it is Miss with Being Creative with Miss, and I am so excited that you're joining me tonight. So say hello as you buzz on into the hive. We have a special night planned, and I'm excited. I'm nervous, but I'm excited. So we're going to do a really fun hot cocoa sign tonight. We're going to do a couple things to it that's really going to take it up a level. So you won't want to miss that. I love the way it looks. I guess the first time I dabbled with this technique doing this was in the fall. So the Stencil Smith had a fall sign, and I'll show it to you. It is I think it's beautiful, and I know it's not fall, but this was the stencil I used, and I love the coffee cup. So I did that technique on the coffee cup, and I loved it. And so I was so excited when she came out with the hot cocoa version. So in the comments, or in the link, the video description, not in the description, I can add a link. So I added a link for your project sheet. So on this sheet, I'm trying to hurry, anything that's underlined is clickable. So when you pull that up, you can click on any of those things that I'm using tonight, and it'll take you right to it. And that makes it so much easier for you. And the paint colors are there. So I hope that you find that helpful. So let me show you what we're going to do. This is the sign. Is it not beautiful? But look up close. Look at that hot cocoa. That foam looks kind of real, and the marshmallows are amazing. So that's what we're going to do tonight, is this frame. So let me show you another thing. So this hang on here, I've got all kinds of stuff sitting here, so I'm trying to keep it all straight. So this is just the hot cocoa mug, and I used the stencil from that fall sign I showed you for this one. That's why it's a little bit bigger. But I just added the snowflakes, and that's one of the snowflake, or one of the stencils that's on sale. This is the best stencil you can have. You can use it all winter long on so many things. I love to use it on the sides, on backgrounds, or whatever, but I use that stencil around it. And then this Warm Winter Wishes I did on the back side. So it's kind of like a two-sided sign, but that was really fun. So I did that, and then, so you can do it on any kind of board. This is a 2x6. So I took this same stencil, but I just taped off the winter and the wishes, and I just used winter on it. And I used a blue instead of an aqua on this one. I don't know if you can see that. And then I just added like some fabric, and I painted a rusty bell. I just like to do that to kind of add a little bit. I plaited the sides of this one, just hand plaited it real quick, but I used that same snowflake stencil on the back. So there's just a couple things that you can do with it. So I made this, with the same stencil. So you can get a lot of bang for your buck out of that stencil. You can make a big sign, or you can, just take that cup out of it and make some smaller signs. But again, I just used the winter out of that one. So those are just some different things that you can do. Like I said, that's a 2x6. You can also use a 1x6 if you wanted to. But that's what I've done with this, and I absolutely love it. So I want to show you tonight that technique I did on that cup to kind of bring it to life, because it's just really fun to do, and it looks so good. So if you can see that, I'll hold it up again so maybe you can see how that looks, and I'll show you this one again. So really neat, really neat. I think these would be fabulous sellers at, like at shows and stuff. I just think it's really cool. So so that's just a fun way. You don't have to frame stuff. I don't frame stuff. If you watch my page very much, I love to use blocks. and I do that like 2x4, 2x6, whatever wood, and I don't, you know, frame them. We do a lot of different things on it. So when I was getting ready to go live, I went ahead. I kept thinking, oh, we've got so much to do. So I went ahead and started, but we have a lot more to do. So, I mean, you just would basically see me doing the same thing over and over. So I went ahead and started on some of the letters just so we have time to really concentrate on the cup. So I'm going to line this back up, and I'm going to tape it at the top. I'm probably going to stick my head under here farther than I need to, but I want to get it lined back up good. And when we get that done, we will finish. And you have on your supply sheet, I have all your colors on there for you. And I hope that is helpful. So it doesn't even take very many colors. We aren't using a bunch. You can make the cup any color you want. But I am using Dutch Aqua tonight. You really are seeing the top of my head. I just looked over and I'm like, oh my word. Oops, I moved it. I was trying to see comments there. Okay, so when I am doing something, a lot of times my stencil will overhang my board, but when it does not, I do this a lot just because I think it's sometimes hard to get a hold of my, I have a hard time picking up the stencil off like it'll be flat on here and I'll take my nail and keep scraping at it. So I'm going to create a little tab right there. I just use some tape and then I can grab onto that to lift it up if I'm going to dry it or whatever. So for the cocoa color, I use coffee bean, but I add just a little bit of white to it. It's not like any specific formula. It's not like, you know, you're going, oh, I'm going to add 3 squirts or whatever. It's just add a little bit to it just to lighten it a little bit. And so I've already done that. I may have to mix up more for that, but I've already done that. So I just took the coffee bean with a little bit of white, and then I just use that for the brown. So I'm going to go ahead and do the C for you, and I am a little wild when I get going. I was going to say when I'm on my lives, because I'm always trying to just like hurry along, but that's probably actually not totally true. I probably do it all the time, but I don't want to, I cover up some stuff because I'm afraid I get just talking and moving fast, and I don't want to get paint up in my other area. So a lot of times, like I said earlier, I use a sponge for bigger areas. That's just how I learn. And I just still do that. But for smaller areas and for details and stuff like that, I absolutely love to use the stencil brushes. They are amazing. And I would never just say that. I like to try something out, and if I really like it, then I'll pass it along. But I don't just pass something along just to pass it along. Like, I literally love their brushes. Every one of them. Their angle brushes are my favorite that I shade with. I really, really like them. So I'm just giving that a quick dry because I don't want to, if it's not dry, I'm just going to pick back up the paint that I just put down. So I'm just going to continue here. So I feel like getting the lettering done is just kind of like, let's get all that done so we can get into the really fun part. It's all fun, but the cup's really fun. It's fun to create. So, I hope you're excited about it as much as I am, because it's just the perfect sign for this time of year. I am in West Virginia, wild, wonderful West Virginia. I've grown up, I was born and raised here. My husband has moved so many times. I don't even know how many. I did know at one point, but I can't remember. His father was a pastor, and they moved all over. And oh, bless his heart, he did okay with it, I guess. But I probably would have died by the inches. You wouldn't know it, but I'm typically pretty quiet and not an out front person, and I probably would have just hid in the corner somewhere. But in West Virginia, we have had a lot of cold weather, as I think so many people have. And we've had snow on the ground for almost 3 weeks. We have gotten quite a bit of snow. We started off January with a bang, and we're still at it. So I think we're actually just supposed to start getting warmer now. But it has definitely been hot cocoa weather. I'm going to make sure I didn't. So the one nice thing is about, I try not to get bleeds. And the most important thing, I think, is just, a lot of times when people experience bleeds, it's usually just too much paint. When I get in a hurry, when I'm on lives, when I'm talking and not always paying attention, I will tend to do that. My board's rough right there. Like, you can tell how smooth that is. It's a little rough right there. But anyway, it's definitely been cold here. For sure. Yeah, that board is really, it looks really textury, and it should not. It's just, that's how it is on the board. Maybe I should have sanded it, but I didn't really notice it so much until now. Okay, so I did some of the white, but we'll finish that. So I was using a 1/2 inch white, or 1/2 inch brush, sorry, in my white. And it does a fabulous job. I'm going to cover that up just so it doesn't dry out. So I'm going to get another paper towel, and I'm going to get my white. I better look over here and see. Oops. Every time I try to look at comments, it flips up. It was -9 when I got up yesterday here, but I don't really know what it got down to. That's just what I saw it when I got up. Okay, so I'm just going to start and kind of swirl around here. And we'll have to give this a couple coats, which is why I went ahead and did that, because I'm basically just doing the same thing over and over, and I didn't want you just have to watch me do the same thing when we've got fun stuff to do. So if you joined late and you're just now hopping on and you missed at the beginning when I was saying, if you share this video tonight, the owner of the Stenciled Smith is Pete and April. They have a fabulous company. Like, it's so fun to get a package in the mail from them. It's how they package it, the paper, like everything. It is just like, it is truly happy mail. When you get it, you can ask anyone and they'll probably tell you that. It's just so fun. It doesn't matter how many times you get a package. It's just fun. And they ship really quick, and it's really fun. But anyway, April's in the comments, and she is giving away tonight. Let me show you really quick again. It's a 1/4 inch stencil brush, which is a great price, and then this Lacy Love stencil. And if you comment, or if you share and then comment that you shared, she will enter your name in a drawing. She's got a prize wheel, and she will spin that at the end to see who the winner is, and then she will ship that out to you tomorrow. So that is pretty cool. That's a nice, generous thing on top of the very generous discount that you can get on these stencils tonight. All right, let's give that one more dry. Does anyone already have this stencil? Do you already have it, or have you already done it? I'm going to flip that over. Let me see. I'm going to make sure that's dry. So we'll give this one more coat. Usually when I come to a bridge area, so there's a bridge in the R, and there's the bridge on the P and the R over here, I usually try to go a little bit heavier right by those bridges, so when I fill it in with my liner, it's not as noticeable. So let's just, I said I was going to give that one more swirl, and then there I went again. Okay, I'm just tapping where those bridges are now. Okay, so now we're going to go up here. I better check that C underneath. Yeah, that C is so rough. I hate that. It'll probably be fine when you get it all done. I don't think you're going to be, I don't think that's going to stand out as some big problem. Because you're going to be looking at the whole thing, not just staring at the C, but I wish it was smoother like the other ones. Okay, let me see if I think I have any other. I think that's far enough away, but so it's white as well. So let's go ahead and load and offload again. So I'm just swirling around. I just use Bounty paper towels. Well, actually, they are Sam's brand paper towels, but they're just like Bounty. That's just what I always use. They're my go-to paper towels, and I use Sam's baby wipes unscented. They're my favorite too, but your baby wipe is your best friend. It can clean up things quickly when you need them to. So this just says hot, and it's a big, pretty, swirly script. All right. Look over here. Pam, thank you. I just looked over and said that you shared it. Thank you. I see a lot of my girls, my crew in the house, in the hive, I should say. I told them the other day, I said, I'm really nervous. So they assured me they would, that I would be fine and that they would show up and cheer me on. So I appreciate them being here. I feel like I have the best community. They are just great. We have become friends, and I just appreciate them so much. So much. The nice thing, I hope I'm not getting any bleeds, but the nice thing, I love to work on black because black is so easy to fix anything. Like, you can just touch it up so easy, and you can fix things if you need to. But hopefully there's not a need to, but it's okay if you do. I had Noah today, our little grandson, and he is 2, and we were watching Miss Rachel, and she was talking about how you don't always have to have things perfect, and making mistakes and learning how to deal with them or fix them is good. That's because you learn how to fix them. And Mark looked at me and said, see, Miss, even Miss Rachel says it's okay to, because I always say about, oh, I messed up, and, like, I'll get off of the live, and he always asks me, how did it go? He's always really nice and supportive about it. And I said, I usually am like, oh, I did such and such, or I ran my hand through this, but we fixed it. So he was laughing about it. And I said, yeah, I'm going to tell him tonight that even Miss Rachel says, it's okay. Okay, let me take a look-see here and see how we're doing. I've got myself taped down. I think we're good. I wanted to make sure that I didn't miss anything or, you know, need anything darker. So, yep, it looks good. We got it all going there. So, I'm going to put it back down. I have some white here. I'm going to put it back down so we can stencil in the color of the cup. Let me get that white off. And, like, if that doesn't come off, again, that's the beauty of black. I can just hit that with some black and cover it up. Now, I don't think I'm going to use white anymore, but I never know, so I try not to dunk it in the water because you never, you know, want your stencil brush to be white or wet. So I just always lay mine on the table beside me, and then if I need it again, it's there, but the wet baby wipe keeps it moist and doesn't let it dry out. So that's what I always do. So now we are going to do our hot cocoa mug. So I love the winter color. I love blue as a winter color, and I like, I love aqua or like blue sky, blue mist, any of those colors. But I use Dutch aqua a lot, and I just think it screams like winter, and I love it with brown too. So brown, black, and that color look really good. Now, most of the time, I add a little white to it just because I like to tone it down a bit. But you can also just use it straight up. But I add a lot of white to stuff, or black, or whatever color to darken stuff. That's just what I do a lot. I mean, if I have a color that's a little darker or a little lighter, that's fine. But sometimes I just like certain colors, and I just throw a little white in there, and then it's the color I need it. So that's what we're going to use for the coffee cup. So that is what color. I'm going to fold my napkin or my paper towel inside out here. I cut a string and I can't get rid of it. I got a lot of paint on there. Good grief. So this is a pretty large area. I'm just going to kind of start in the middle and just kind of tap out. And I don't even have to reload that sponge in my paint. I can go back to my paper towel and pick up enough paint for a little bit, and then I'll have to reload. But I do know one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tape off before I get in the sea. And tape that off, because I can see that coming. No pun intended. I said I don't want to get it in the sea, and I said I can see that coming. Never mind. It's been a long day. Oh my. I always said I was nervous about doing this tonight. I'm not nervous when I go right on live on my regular page. I was when I started back several years ago, 5 years ago. But now I'm not. Like, I love it. I love connecting with them and going up. But I was really nervous about this. So I was eating. Mark and I were eating, and I didn't say anything to him. I'm just sitting there eating and kind of thinking about it. And I thought, what have I gotten myself into? What have I done? I'm like, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Oh, goodness. I'm making sure. I thought I went out a little bit, but it's okay. Okay, now I'm going to dry that. That has a couple places, and I knew it did. I was using the end of a big bottle of black today. It was the very end of it. And I shouldn't have, because it had some little goopies in it. Okay, so now we'll reload here. Okay. You know, I have not been watching comments good enough. I'm sorry. I probably ought to stop and look over there in a minute. Yeah, this whole board right here is real rough because this cup is kind of the same way. Which a man on a galloping horse will never see it once it's done. But man, up close it's rough. A little rough. And all I would have had to do is just run either a brown paper bag over it just to get the rough off, like little nubbies off, or a real light sandpaper. But yeah, it's really rough. Matter of fact, it's kind of messing with the ends right there. Okay, I think that's good. So, basically the rim is what's going to show the most, because now we have to stencil in the foam color. So let's get this good and dry. Make sure it's good and dry. So we're going to pick up the overlay piece. I think we can take this off. We could go ahead and fill in our bridges, but I don't know. I'm going to grab my white stencil brush. I don't know if I remembered to do that. A couple extra coats when I did the letters. To fill in the bridges, I used the liner. And the Stenciled Smith has a really nice pack of liners. And they are great brushes. Sorry, I didn't mean to rattle all that. I should have had that out, but I didn't take out a bigger one. So I have 0, 0, and 0 size. So when we lift this up, you can see how rough that is. You'll see that I have bridges on there that need filled. You don't have to fill them. I always have. It just, to me, I know a lot of people do not fill them. To me, it just doesn't look finished, and that's just how I've always done it. So you can skip it or do it, whichever you want. So, just going to kind of go down through there. I'm going to add a little bit. I think my fan dried out my paint a little bit. Twist that as I'm coming out. I apologize for the, try to go to the side here, so I can't see very well, but I'm trying not to get my head down in there. Camera angle is so hard for me. It is always a challenge. So I know you don't want to see the top of my head. I don't really want to mix paint with this. I try to keep the bristles really nice. I was just adding a little bit of water. I should have turned the fan off. So I'll have to do this a couple times until I get it all smoothed in and filled in. But it makes a big difference because it just makes it look, I guess I didn't finish that sentence. But I think my goal is always to take the stencil and make it look like it wasn't a stencil. Like, you can really make them look so pretty with so many different little extras that you do. They are so fun to use because they're just so fun. All the ideas they have and they can come up with, and you can just kind of take them and run with them, add stuff, and it's just so fun. And it's just neat. So I'm just going to kind of close those that way and then come down. So this is the, like I said, the 0 size. And then on that thinner one, I'll probably use maybe the 00. So this will be my first coat on this, and then I'll kind of go back and that was awful. I may have to, I'll probably lightly run a little bit of sandpaper over that afterwards. Now I'm just kind of going this way. A lot of times I'll use my finger. I use my finger a lot. It quickly moves something down. My hands are always a mess when I paint. I think I'm just messy at everything. That would probably be a good way to say that. So I just remind you again, if you're hopping on, if you came in late, if you want to share the video, you can be entered in for a giveaway that the Stencilsmith is doing. And it is a 1/4 inch size 1/4 inch stencil brush and a lacy Valentine stencil. And April is going to pick the winner at the end of the live, and she will ship that out to you tomorrow. That is a pretty nice prize. And if you share it, just comment that you shared it so Stencilsmith knows, and she can put it in her spin wheel there, and you have a chance at the prize. Okay, let me see if we've got this good. Oh, I had a big clunk on there. I'm just going to straighten that up to blend in that line better. So I just kind of go down and then I kind of go across it just so I just make sure you can't see it. So we'll let that dry and I'll check that. And then that's all we had to do on the brown. And then the white has a few. So when you're working in lettering or dotting, it's always good to have fresh paint. So much better. Sometimes I'll be like, oh, I've got enough out there, I'll just use what I have, and that's never a good idea because it just goes so much better if you just put out fresh paint. Definitely goes on better and you get better result. Okay, I'll let that dry and I'll go to another letter and then I'll come back to it. Let's go to the P. So do you all always fill in your bridges, like those of you that stencil regularly? Are you a bridge filler or are you not? Seems like there's people that are just like, no, never, I never do it. You know, it doesn't affect my signs if they sell them or whatever. And they're like very, very adamant about it. And then there's the other side where you're like, I always fill it in. So I never hear anyone saying, sometimes it's usually one way or the other. But it's kind of like I always finish the backs of whatever I'm doing. I finish the backs, whether it's stained, painted, whatever. And then there's other people, the same thing. It's like, no, I never finish the backs. It doesn't affect it at all. It has never made me not sell something or whatever. It's always interesting because everyone has kind of opinions about that too. But I am a back finisher as well, so I don't know. I guess it's just all in what you like and what you get used to doing. Whoops. I'll just smooth that out. Okay, so now let's go back down here. And we'll get this finished up and hit the hot cocoa up, or the hot up there, and then we can move on to the cup. So the next thing we're going to do on the cup is we're going to stencil the foam layer. The frothy layer, I guess. I don't know what you call. But see, when I take my finger and do that, it's like it kind of moves that paint and doesn't make it look just like I came out there and stopped. Whoops. Got a little hair on there. Hang on. Okay. To reload that. So I think that one's filled in good enough. I just need to kind of make it match. Okay. All right. Let's move on to the P. We're almost finished over here. The A needs some work. We better fix it up there. Okay. Alrighty. Let's move on. I might have to come back and do, I'm just going to let it dry. I'm not sure about my A, if I have it good enough or not, but hopefully I do. When it dries. But I will move on, so I don't want to just keep sitting there taking all the time. So let me fill this in. I was going to switch to that smaller one, but I feel like I use the smallest one all the time and don't switch out even sometimes when I need a bigger one. So, whoops. And then I just made a little boo there. My paint keeps gunking up on me because of the fan. I had it on earlier and didn't turn it off. All right. I guess your goal is just to make it look continuous. Like that's just not a stop or a start. Okay, let's do here. We've been working on some Valentine stuff on my page. And we did do the winter snowman tree, which was really fun. I'll have to show you that at the end, how you can personalize the tree. It was so fun to do. I have that sitting behind me, so I'll try to remember to show it to you. Whoop. This one's got a lot in it. And I may not, I'll try to hit all of them, but I can go back later and fix them up better so I don't take a huge amount of time. Okay, let's do the H. Clean my brush off again. Kind of twist it as I'm coming out of that paint to keep a good point. Okay. All right. I think I'll just stop there. They still need to go over probably one more time, just to smooth them all in so they look nice, because I don't leave them to where they look like I filled them in but didn't fill them in good, or didn't blend it well, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I think, I'm sure you get the gist of how that's supposed to be. So we will move on so we can do the fun stuff. I have messed that up every time I come around that curve. I don't know why. It is causing me trouble. So that's the other thing I do. Sometimes if I'm in like a curve or something, I really feel like it shows, I'll just take my brush up on around it, and kind of that helps blend it in too. It just depends. It just depends on where it looks. But like these need touched up again down here, like, because you can see that, and I wouldn't want that to show like that. But I think you get the gist. So they're definitely not as good as they should be. All right, so let's go to the foam. So for the foam, we are going to take coffee bean again. So for these letters, we use coffee bean and a little bit of white. But now we're going to use white with a little bit of coffee bean. So that's how we're creating our foam. So we'll just kind of squirt some in and see what we get. Sometimes I have to add more white, sometimes you add more brown. You just want it to be a, a lighter value. So that's not quite dark enough. So I'll add just a little bit more coffee bean to that. And then, let's see what we have. We want the foam to look, I guess like foam does, just like lighter. I always squirt it in there and I'm like, was that too much? I think this will be good. So that's just kind of what I did for the foam. I had some lighter browns, but I just didn't really like the color of them, so I just thought I liked it better when I just mixed the white in it. So that's what I did. So let me put this up there. Okay, so it's right in front of me. I'm like, where did that go? Let me pick up a few of things here so I'm not... So now we are going to use the first overlay, which I washed my stencil, so I took it off. The it says it's engraved in there, number 1, number 2, number 3. So we're not going to use number 3 because we are going to make our marshmallows. But you can see through the stencil, so you can just kind of gauge it there with your, put it just right in the middle. And then I'm just taping it down. I'm going to put a little piece right there so I can pick it up if I need it. Okay, so I'm going to take my sponge and just get in that light color. And now, after we get this layer done, then we're going to have some fun. We are going to make it look really, really neat. Just go right around those edges. Oops, I think I moved that. All right. Well, we still got rough wood there. I don't know why I didn't sand that. After I did the cup layer, I should have run sand over it. Okay. So let's give that one more go around, and then we will be ready for the next layer. I believe. I think that'll be good. So now that's what we've got. So I've got a little tiny place right there. There's my liner. Oh, I put that in the wrong color. Messy. I'm gonna fix a place here where my nail hit it there. So the next layer that we're going to do is the cocoa color. And it is the second overlay. And it is going to, once again, you can see through the stencil. So then you just center, you know, you can see the rim, you can tell it's the same. You know, you're just trying to get it close to being the same all the way around. And then just put that down. It's probably too late now, but let's see something. All right, so this is the same color as this. So my other one was really dried up. So I'm going to mix a little bit again for our cocoa color. And then we will use our brush to add that in. So I think that's about it. Get out of there. Okay. So now I'm going to use a stencil brush to put that in. So like a stencil brush is perfect for these little foamy bubble places. So that'll just work perfect with that. So I'm going to use this 3/8. And my paper towel is a little bit damp, and I don't want my paper towel to be damp at all when I'm stenciling or dry brushing. So, we're just going to start swirling here. And fill this area in, and then I'm going to go out here to the bubbles. Just make sure I'm not pressing really hard. I'm just kind of trying to be light. I'm kind of heavy-handed, so I try to not be up here. And we'll get that to dry. Okay, so I'm just loading again, and think I had enough paint on there. So go out around. Now I'm going to come back into those bubbles again. And lift it up. Isn't it cool? Looks really neat. Let's see. So now we are going to do a little bit of shading and a little bit of dry brushing. And dry brushing is just one of my favorite things to do because I love how it makes things look. So I'm just going to darken. I can see a few places that were a little bit lighter there. So I'm just going to put my stencil brush and my baby wipe and lay it up there. So I'm going to take my liner brush, detail brush, and I'm going to, well, I said I was going to fix it, and I think I made it worse. Oh, a little jag right there, so I'm just going to fix it. Maybe. I said I keep making it worse instead of better. Maybe I won't fix it. I just have a little tiny place there where I'm like, it's bugging me because it's not there. So we're going to shade around the cup, and we're going to shade around the hot cocoa. So we are going to get out slate gray. You could also, if you don't have slate gray, you can just add some white paint and a little bit of black to it, and that will be fine. So I'm going to get my angle brush. It's a 1/4 inch angle brush and a baby wipe. The baby wipe is kind of good to fan your brush out on. Just dropped water everywhere. Okay, so I'm going to go in that slate gray, and I'm going to move right around the edge of the coffee cup. Now, if you have trouble, if you feel like your paint's not moving well, you can always kind of wipe it with your baby wipe and then start shading it. Just lay the corner or the point of your brush down. And sometimes hitting it with a baby wipe first kind of helps it move. Help it move along the area better. It just depends. I still have a little place there. I don't know what I did. But that's just, sometimes if your shading just isn't cooperating, or your wood's not totally smooth or something, that can help it move sometimes. We might have to hit that again. We'll see if we do. Keep getting water all across my board, and paint apparently. Okay, so I'm down here, so I'm just going to kind of hit that with the baby wipe, and I'm going to go clear over that handle. And we'll shade the handle too, but for right now, we're just going to go right over that area. Okay. Now I'm going to rinse and reload. Wipe it off on the baby wipe. Sorry, I know I'm moving this board all over the place trying to... I'm going to come back down around and over that again, just to make that a little bit stronger. And then back up the side, which we will dry brush that and make that a little lighter on that side. But for right now, I'm going to put a little gray on it. I'm try not to move the board, but I can't do it upside down. Alright, so then you can look at it again. Sometimes when it dries, it's a little lighter, more transparent than you might want it, but you should be able to see that, see the shading. So, you can go on the inside edge as well if you want, but you don't have to. But you can, I try to make it a little bit thinner on that line. But shading kind of really makes it pop and brings things to life. That is for sure. And you can see where I left off at. Okay. So I'm just, like I said, putting a not as wide of a line on the inside because I don't want to cover up all of my blue, my aqua. Okay, I think I need more paint on there. So we will also use a micron pen around that cup, and that will help like divide that handle and stuff too. I love using those on my projects. So I think the only place we're going to use it tonight is on the cup, or on the mug. Okay. Alright, so now we're going to get some cocoa bean, or some coffee bean, cocoa bean. And we're just going to use it straight. We're not going to add anything to it this time, and we're going to shade with it. So, same thing. It's kind of, this is rough, so I'm definitely going to wet it with my baby wipe. So I'm going to start right there. And same thing, we might have to go back and do it again. If it doesn't, if it's not showing up right. You can even add a little black to your cocoa bean if it needs to be, if you want it to be bolder. And now after this, we will make the marshmallows. So we're just going right around the edges just to darken that. But it really does make a difference. I just keep dragging water. My water's too far up there, but my piece is kind of big. I feel like I'm trying to keep it in the camera and all the things. I think I keep worrying about my head more than anything. So up and around these little areas. I'm reloading this. Okay. So I'm going to go back in there and kind of come out a little wider. And then back around. And let's see. All right, now we also need to go shade around our foam. So you can use straight coffee bean, or you can use the white mix that you had. Either one's fine. You just want to shade it a little bit to differentiate those colors. It just makes them pop better, I guess. Or you can go between the two. So, and I know this takes just a tad bit of time, but oh, what a difference it makes. It really looks pretty. I keep dabbing between the two. Now that is a little stronger than I want it, so I'm just going to tap it with my finger and come on up around. Come clear around those foam bubbles, and we'll hit a couple, do a little bit of shading on the foam bubbles, but not a lot, but a little bit. Right back up around there until we meet back up where we started. And then any place you think you need to darken it, you can. So I'm even going to go on this side and give a little bit of a shade. I'm going to move a little bit quicker because it doesn't need to be as precise through there. But can you see the shading, the difference in the shading? This looks pretty. But now, up on these bubbled areas, I'm going to go in just straight coffee bean. And I'm going to go on that upper, like the upper right-hand side of the bigger bubbles, and just put in some shading. And I'm just trying to get the tip of it, but it's not going to be horrible if you get outside. And you can kind of just tap on some of these medium-sized ones. You can't really shade the real tiny ones. But I'm going to go back and hit those bigger ones again. And I'm using just straight coffee bean for that. And for these smaller ones, you can just set the tip of your brush in the upper, kind of the upper right-hand side of it. And it gives that same effect, just giving a darker look to it. So that looks pretty already, doesn't it? Just changes it. So now you can get a little bit of white out. I've dropped enough water on this, it's ridiculous. Ridiculous, as Noah says. So I'm going to take a little bit of white, and I'm just going to tip that tip in it. And now I'm going to go on the other side of that foamy area, and I'm going to put a little bit of white. So just any of them, the bigger ones, you know, kind of do that side. And then same thing on these smaller ones, just that lower left-hand side. Just kind of just set your brush down and let the tip just kind of make a little mark there. And then I'm going back over these bigger ones, because a lot of times when white dries, it tends to be kind of transparent when it dries. So you can add a little more paint and then just go back and tap around again. And then we'll be done with it. But can you see how pretty that looks? It looks really pretty. You can, we're going to dry brush and kind of add the white in on the cup and stuff. So I love dry brushing. So this pack of dry brushes, there's like 18 in it. There's a slew of them, all sizes. Some are flat, some are round. I've used them for years, like years, several years. And I've tried all different kinds, and these are my favorite. They're just great, but we're going to use a little one. I'm trying to see if I have a littler one over here than this. But this is what we're going to use. So we're just going to use the white, and of course dry brush means a really dry brush. You don't want your paper towel to be damp or anything. So I'm just going to use a couple of these and really get the paint off, and then I can add more if I need to. But I'm kind of just going to swirl, kind of not swirl, go with the, like kind of a swoop around that, kind of to that area right there. And then I'll reload. And I'm going to kind of put a little bit right there. But dry brushing adds so much. It just kind of takes the harshness out of something. It softens it. So I'm also going to use it other places, but I want the strongest value to be right there. And then I'm also going to kind of take it over some of the foam. Now that there's not very much paint in it, there's just a scant amount, but it still kind of makes it look neat. Have your baby wipe ready. So now I'm going to take this real little one, just so I don't get out on the black, but I'm going to take it around the cup. So like I'm just going to lay it down and start out really wipe it off. And then if you're not getting enough paint, you can always add two. But see, you just set it down. It's just scruffy enough that it leaves like a really good I don't know, like highlight around there. But it looks really neat. So I dry brush on just about everything. So I'm going to do it on more to the left side of that handle, like where the light kind of would be hitting it more. And then you can also kind of go in here with that little one and add some more on the foam too in some places. But that can really pull together a project. So can you see that well on the camera? It's pretty neat looking. So you can go back and hit that with the little one even more. You're just kind of going around, and it almost makes it look like, it just gives you the feel that's the top of that cup. I need to wipe off that little dot I got in there and then kept blowing it at the same time. Okay, let's dry that. And then the micron pen, this is a 005. I linked them on the list. You can get them on Amazon if you don't have a Hobby Lobby, or you can't find them at your Hobby Lobby. But ours has them, but if you don't have them, you can also get it at Hobby Lobby. So what I like to do, and it'll just kind of make the cup stand off a little bit, is I don't use a continuous line. I just put it down and make some lines. I'll hold it up closer when I'm done, and some wiggles, some lines. But I don't ever keep it continuous. I just kind of go and then squiggle, just a little squiggle, and then just kind of broken lines. I feel like I'm not saying that good. This one's real fine. You can go bolder than this as well. I like to use a 1 a lot, or a 003. But I really do like to use them. And then we'll just go right down the handle, kind of swoop across the end, and then right up the side. So, can you see that good? Okay. All right, so we are going to do our foam. Oops, I forgot to close in that O right there. We're going to make our marshmallows real quick. And then the last thing we'll do is the foam. And it is just so cool. So that'll need hit again, but I did want to fill it in. Also, you don't have to do this, but I always usually shade, like highlight on the left and shade on the right. So my darker value is usually on the right. It's just however you want to think of it. You may do it opposite, but I always think of the light coming across this way, and it's going to hit the left side of my stuff, and the darker is going to be on the right. But for these letters, I threw that out the window and totally changed it. So what I did is I actually shaded on the left side instead of highlighted. And I did this fairly quick. I didn't take, I'm going to add some water to this just because it's dried out. I didn't take, like, I wasn't real precise at it or anything like that. I just wanted it to have a little bit of a shade or a color to it. So I'm just going to just scoot up the left side, which is weird for me because I don't, like I said, usually do that. So I'm just hitting places. And keep your baby wipe in case you need it. But I just like that little bit of color on it. It's almost just a fade of a color. It should be a fade. Those first ones were a little bit dark. So then I'm not doing the whole thing at all. I'm just kind of just randomly hitting places on it. But I think it looks really pretty on the lettering. And then also adding the dots. So I love to do that. So this doesn't take any time at all because you're just really just quickly adding stuff. You can add a little bit here and there and call it good. So, but I think it looks really pretty. You can go back and add wherever. And then I'm going to dot, and I told you always need fresh paint when you dot. And we're going to dot these and then make our marshmallows, which it's really quick to make the marshmallows. We're almost done. I'm trying to hurry. So there's our dotting stuff. So these dotting tools are my favorite. I have so many of them. I keep several on my table, and I paint up, like I'll carry stuff downstairs to paint or whatever. I have them all over the place, but I just pick a size on it that I want to use for my dots, and I just kind of randomly do them. So I'm just going to kind of pick that size, I think, for this, and I just randomly start, and I usually just do like 3, and then over here, like I usually just, especially if the letters are small, just do the left side, but sometimes I'll switch over like I did on that one and do something, but I'll stagger, like that one's here, that one's down there. This one I'm going to take clear to the bottom. I'm going to go back up more to the top on that one. So I just kind of stagger it around, but I love how it looks. This adds a little something to it. But you can also, like I said, you can go to the other side if you want to, if you feel like being fancier or whatever, you can definitely do that. So we'll do the E down there. So you can kick out and do the end of that R. You can do that, well, that one, I'd have to do it up here because I did the bottom of that one. But I'll hold it up again so you can see it. But you don't have to do it twice on all of them. It's just, it doesn't matter. You just do what you want. Do what you think you like what looks good to your eye. So, but I definitely think it makes the lettering look pretty. So I saw something I forgot here. I'm going to go kind of do the same thing to that dot. I'm going to put a little bit of brown in there. So can you see that? The other thing I did to my lettering, the cocoa part lettering, is just use a little bit of a bigger dry brush. Not that one, I just pulled the head of it off. Let's see. Oh, there's one laying there. So I'm just going to get in that white again, same thing. You just always want to make sure your paper towel's wet. I keep getting those, or dry. I keep getting those paper towels dry. Wet, I can't talk. Okay, so I kind of, same kind of thing that we did on the coffee cup. I just kind of swoop around on it and kind of follow the letter and kind of come more to the edge. But it really just takes them from looking really flat to kind of just adding a little bit to it. This brush must not have been used much. At first, some of the hairs will come out of them, but once you use it a couple times, they're great. Okay, so kind of come down there. You can do it other places, but I usually kind of go heavier on that one side. So you don't have to continuously go around, like you can skip that place and kind of come up there. So I'm going to kind of come there, but then you can come back and do it heavier on that edge. You can even shade those edges dark if you want, and you could dot them too, but I didn't want to take away from the foam and stuff. But you can tell a difference just that dry brushing makes. And I do the same thing with those brushes when I'm using them. I treat them just like my stencil brushes. Not that they're that worthy of caliber, but I just don't like them to dry out. So, all right, so let's set that aside, and these dots can dry. We'll make the marshmallows real quick, and then we'll get to the foam, and then we'll be done. So I'm going to show you how, I'll try to get this, of course my fingers have paint all over them. I'll get that off of the white surface. So you just take Model Magic. So this is what it looks like if you find it. You can find it like in Hobby Lobby. No, I don't know if Hobby Lobby has it. Michael's has it. I don't know if Walmart does or not. I usually buy it in bigger, like when I'm doing a lot of fake bake stuff, I'll buy it in big, like the big pack of it. But so this is usually like $4 something or $5. And then there's also these little packages, which is just an ounce. I do have these on my website, and they're like $1.19, I think. And so that's an option. You can, those are linked on my site, but it's just Model Magic, and I'm just kind of, you just kind of move it around and get it pliable. But it's real easy to use. But you're just going to real quickly here, I'll just show you, like, so you're going to kind of roll it out, and then you can use scissors or just break it off or whatever. But like to make your long one, just kind of round the edge off, and I kind of set it down and then tap on it, so that kind of makes, gosh, my fingers are a mess. That kind of, you know, makes the end flatter, and then you can roll it a little bit more. They're super easy to make, but you kind of just sitting that on its end and tapping on it, and then each end, that kind of helps it look like a marshmallow. And then I kind of push down on it a little bit, and that kind of flattens that bottom. So I let it dry like that. So that's where I'm going to glue that onto my hot cocoa cup. And then the other ones I want just to look like the top of a marshmallow, like sticking up instead of laying long ways. So I'm just kind of doing the same thing, just not as big a piece. And I'm getting paint on this because my hands are yucky, but if you use this normally, you would not be getting paint. So you can just roll that and then push it down flatter. And then that kind of will make it look like a marshmallow that's just sunk in. So that's kind of what you're doing. And then those, just let them dry overnight or something. It doesn't even have to be overnight. It can be a couple hours, and they'll be firm enough to be able to glue on, but maybe not completely dry. But super easy to do. So I already have some dried, ready to use, so we will use those. But I wanted to show you how to make those because they're really, really easy and fun to do. So isn't that cool? Yeah, it does make you want some hot chocolate, but that's how you make the marshmallows. So that's really easy. So now let's do the foam, and it's really fun, and it goes really quick. So we're almost done. Almost done. I know this has been a long project. Probably too long for my first first thing to be spotlighted at, but here we are. Okay, so you can get this big bottle. They have it at Hobby Lobby too. I think you can get the big one on Amazon too. I think it's $5 something maybe. So you can get that. I also have these on my website, and they are, I think, $2.49. I think it is for the little one. But it's just like glossy accents, and it's a clear dimensional medium. And the thing I love about it, and the thing I like about these little ones compared to the bigger ones, is I love the little tip on this. So that I do like the little size because of that. But like when you put it down, it doesn't spread out. Like it stays put, and that's what I feel like it's magic about it. So what we're going to do is just work in, I think all those are dry, or fill in an area. So I'm going to turn it. Let me move my water. So this is our last shebang, and then April can draw. But I'm just going to start right here before, or right as these bubble things in. So I'm going to start right here. I'm just going to start squeezing out. Do not be scared to use it. Like, it is so easy to use. And so wherever I put it, it stays. Like, it doesn't bleed out or anything. It's just staying exactly where I put it. So I'm just going around and filling in. And it just kind of self-levels. And, like, if I stop right there and then come back and start and fill in that gap, it kind of just fills in. I don't know how it works. I don't really know, but it's really cool. And it dries in a little bit, and it just looks, but it makes your foam stand up off of there, and it just looks like foam. It looks really cool when it dries. So we're just working around until we get on up closer to the bubbles. But like I said, the little tip on this one is just great. I got a bubble there. So I'm going up around. I'm just trying to go right along that edge and then back down, and it just fills in really quick, so it doesn't take me long at all. So now when you get up to this part, we're going to go around some bubble areas. You can get a toothpick if you want, but you don't have to, I mean, you're not going to hit these teeny tiny ones precisely, but I still just go right along that edge, like right around the border edge. And then I kind of come in between and up around that dot. And you'll be amazed at how it stays. Like, it just stays. It doesn't really fill it in. Now, some of the little tiny ones, if you go on super quick and not paying attention, it might fill it, but it's fine because they're so tiny. But literally, I'm just tapping that right along. So I'm going along that edge and then back up and around. And it just stays exactly where you put it. And you're probably going, you've said that 3 times. I guess I'm just always amazed at it. So just keep going and just go right around it. Back down. And I'm going to connect back down here where I left off. Go around those. And now I'm going to go up around this one. So if you feel like in some of the places that are really tight, the reason why I said you can get a toothpick is you can, I'll show you when we get over here, some closer ones. But really, this one, this little bottle has such a little tip on it that really it is easy to get around them. But it just amazes me how cool it looks. Okay, I'm going to go down. Go back around this border edge or rim. Okay, and then back around that swoop. All right. So I'm doing fine with the small tip. If you have maybe the bigger bottle and you have a bigger tip or something, you may need to do this, but I'll show you just in case. I'm really not having the need for it, but like if you wanted to put a blob down, or a dot down, not a blob, and then pull it a little bit around some of the little ones, that's how you could use a a toothpick. I said a Q-tip. Started to say Q-tip. But that's how you can kind of manipulate it a little bit if you want to, but really I'm not having an issue at all. So I'm come back, I'm almost back to where I started, and then I'll hold it up so you can see it really well. And we'll add the marshmallows, and I'll show it to you. So just like that, you worked your way around it in no time at all. So if you see someplace that maybe you missed or something, you can go back and hit. But it's just so neat. It's just so fun to play with. So let me get a couple marshmallows over here that I already have done. And then I'll get some glue. So like I said, I have a flattened part. I try to smush it down a little bit so I have a flat area. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue. Kind of put it right there. And same with these. And that's all there is to it. You can even shade a little bit on your marshmallows if you want to put a dot of shading, like a little bit of brown or something. I did do that on, I think these. I think you can see where I did a little bit of shading on the edges. You can do that, or you can just leave them. So, and then you can also spatter this if you want. So I spattered my main piece, but this one has frame pieces on it, and I just used that Dutch aqua color. So we'll add the frame and just kind of see what it all looks like here. So make sure you commented that you shared if you've done that, because April is going to get ready to draw. I do want to show you my snowman. Good night, Missy. You'd think I'd never put anything together before. I do want to show you my snowman that we did, because I think it's really, really cute. Well, you get the gist. You get the gist of this. Good grief. But, so I'll probably dry brush a little on the frame and, you know, get it on there right. But it really is a striking, it looks really pretty. So, but I'll probably dry brush a little white around here just so it doesn't look so harsh. I might even sand a little bit of the edges and then I'll spatter it. But that's what it looks like. Isn't that pretty? I think it's really neat though. So that's what it looks like. You can see it up close better. I appreciate you all showing up and watching. Like I said, I tried to scoot along the best I could. It's just, there's just so many details and stuff. Like I said, it was probably a big thing to chunk off for my first time. Anyway, again, you can find, I know the bigger bottles in the store of this, but this size and this littler size are both on my website. I don't think I have anything else to say. Oh, the sheet. If you click on that link, this will have all your info, all your colors, everything underlined is clickable, everything I used tonight, everything you need to know. So, all right, I'll let y'all go. Once again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I really appreciate you watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found some little tip in there that you felt like was helpful. So, anyway, I'll show you this one again, the back, the sides, the front. So cool. All right, I'll see ya. Bye.